Hello, hi guys! How are you guys? Well, I am teacher Rona and I am here to teach you pattern class. But before we will start this class, I would like to ask you, have you experienced this situation? You do have a lot of knowledge, you do have a lot of opinions on your minds, but it's really hard for you to start and it's really hard for you to ask or say the sentence that you want to. Well, that's why I'm here to teach you how to start and how to make a good sentence. But before everything else, I would like you to get a piece of paper. Do you have your paper now? Okay, and a pen. So, for example, this will be your paper and I would like you to make this pattern. Okay? So in this pattern, you have a sheet of paper now, so you have to make an underline thing here, and you have 5 numbers here, okay? So these 5 numbers, this is wherein you will write your sentences. Because before we will start, teacher will have your listening first, okay? You have to listen. I will read some of the sentences, and while reading it, you have to write it on your paper, okay? So let's have it. Ready, guys? Okay. Listen carefully. So please write it on the sheet of paper that you have right now. Okay, let's have pattern number 1. Pattern number 1 is just let me. Step 1, number 1. Just let me do this my way. Just let me do this my way. Number 2. Just let me prove that I am right. Just let me prove that I am right. Number 3. Just let me know what you decide. Just let me know what you decide. Number 4. Just let me help you. Just let me help you. And number 5. Just let me come in. Just let me come in. Let's have a review one more time. Just let me do this my way. 2. Just let me prove that I am right. 3. Just let me know what you decide. 4. Just let me help you. And number 5. Just let me come in. Okay, so we will have 3 patterns and let's try to have, ready? Second pattern is pattern number 2. Let's try to. Let's try to. Step 1, number 1. Let's try to be friends. Let's try to be friends. Number 2. Let's try to get along. Let's try to get along. 3. Let's try to be there on time. Let's try to be there on time. 4. Let's try to see each other more often. Let's try to see each other more often. And number 5. Let's try to complete our project today. Let's try to complete our project today. Let's have a review for the second pattern. Let's try to be friends. Let's try to get along. Let's try to be there on time. Let's try to see each other more often. And let's try to complete our project today. Okay, now let's move on. Pattern number 3. Let me think about. Let me think about. Number 1. Let me think about your job offer. Let me think about your job offer. 2. Let me think about what to do next. Let me think about what to do next. 3. Let me think about what you said. Let me think about what you said. 4. Let me think about your proposal. Let me think about your proposal. And number 5, let me think about how to approach this. Let me think about how to approach this. Let's have a review now for our last pattern. let me think about your job offer. 2, let me think about what to do next. 3, let me think about what you said. 4, let me think about your proposal. And the last, number 5, let me think about how to approach this. Okay, now let's have and check your sentences. After the listening part class, we will have, and this is the right time for you to check your sentence. Let's try to have it. Okay, teacher will just write here and kindly check your sentences if they are correct. Okay, so let's have our first sentence is, first one is, just let me do this my way. Okay, so this will be the number 1. Kindly check your sentence. Number 2, just let me Okay, so number 2 is, just let me prove that I am right. Third sentence, just let me know what you decide. Now, let's have now 4, just let me help you. And the last one is, just let me come in. Okay, so that will be our first pattern. Now, probably you're asking, wow, this pattern, is this very useful? Yes, most of the time, guys, all patterns will be really useful for you. Now, let's have our first pattern, okay? Now, just let me. Where do you think we can use that pattern? Well, just let me, if you notice, class, these sentences, when we are using just let me, you are trying to allow or you are trying to ask for permission to do something. In that case, you're asking permission from the other person if it is okay with them to do that thing. Okay? Now, after this class, just let me, you have to follow it with the verb. Okay? And that is what we call base form present tense. Now, this is how we use just let me. Always remember, just let me if you're asking someone to allow you to do something. Okay? Now, let's have now. Ready? Pattern number 2. Let's try to have pattern number 2. Okay. Next pattern is, let's try to. Let's check now your sentences. Let's have the first one. Let's try to. Let's try to be friends. Second one. Let's try to get along. Okay. Third pattern. Let's try to Okay, let's check it out. Let's try to be there on time. Number 4. Let's try to see each other more often. And let's have the last one. Let's try to complete our project today. Okay, so for pattern number 2, guys, what do you think? What can you notice about the sentences? Let's try to, it means you are trying to attempt to do something. So probably you have a friend and you are trying to encourage that friend to be with you. You are also trying to recommend things or suggest things to a person. So that's how we use let's try to. And don't forget, after using let's try to, you have to use verb there. Okay? Now, that is for pattern number 2. Let's try to. Let's have a review. Let's try to have, or let's try to be friends. Let's try to get along. Let's try to be there on time. Let's try to see each other more often. And let's try to complete our project today. Kindly check your sentence. Okay, now let's have last pattern. Pattern number 3. Okay, so for pattern number 3, we have the pattern let me think about. So first sentence is let me think about your job offer. Okay. Number 1, let me think about your job offer. 2, let me think about what to do next. Third one, let me think about what you said. And let me think about your proposal. And the last one, let me think about how to Okay, so for the last pattern, this will be the sentences. Please kindly check your sentence now. First one, let me think about your job offer. Second is, let me think about what to do next. Third is, let me think about what you said. And fourth, let me think about your proposal. And number 5, let me think about how to approach this. Now let's have, how do we usually use this pattern, let me think about? Of course, in this case, when we use let me think about is when you want people to allow you to do something. Probably at this time, you need more time to think about it. You need to consume more time to realize something, or probably you really have to think about the answer. And don't forget, guys, after using let me think about, this is the next word for that is like a pronoun or noun. So there you go. Those are the first 3 patterns for today. Next time, guys, we will see you and I will see you more and having more patterns to learn. That's all. Thank you.